This is the book we're going to cover. So, first things we need to measure. So here the book is 22.5 centimetres. I'm going to add to that 2.5 or 1 inch, which makes 25. So 25 is the one number. The second measurement we do is from the edge here, right around with the book closed, and I get 33.5. So again, add 2.5 or 1 inch and I get 36 centimetres. So the first piece of fabric is this one, 25 by 36 centimetres. Next, we need the pieces of fabric that are going to go on the inside that hold. So the 25 is going to be the same as the other. And then we need it roughly to come so far inside the book, down here. So that gives me 12. I'm going to add 1 centimetre to that, make 13. So here I have 2 pieces, 25 by 13 centimetres. Besides that, you need 2 pieces for the handles. You can decide how long you want the handles to be. So I've got 2 strips like this. These will be much thinner than they are now because we're going to fold them in and hem them in. They're going to end up about 1 centimetre in width. So you need 2 pieces for the handles, and obviously a zip. That's plenty long enough to go around the whole book. It doesn't have to reach in the middle, but it has to cover those 2 corners there. First job is to prepare the handles. So lay your pieces with the wrong side up. I'm trying to decide which is which. And cut yourself 2 pieces of interfacing and lay those glue side down on your handles. Very important. And iron those on. And now we begin to produce the handles. So we just need to fold that in half and iron it flat. And then we need to turn in one side towards the middle. Now fold in the other side to the same. Pin it, and then we're going to stitch it. And obviously do the same with both. So that's the 2 handles top stitched. It doesn't show so well because everything's black, but the 2 handles are ready. Next job is to take your small inside pieces, and on them you need one of the long sides, you need to edge it in some way. So because I've got an overlocker, I'm just overlocking the edge like that. If you don't have an overlocker, you can use a zigzag stitch, or you can actually even do a proper hem. Both pieces edged. Now for the construction of the whole thing. So we take the big piece and we lay it with right side up. Then we come to place the handles. So although in the end we're going to have it here, this is how we place it to construct it. So you decide if you want the handles to be far apart, close together, short, long, you make that decision. Pin them in place and make sure that For example, here I've got the seam on the inside that runs round and stays on the inside. Otherwise you're going to get a twist in your handle. And to make sure that I've got it even, I'm measuring where I've pinned it. So here I've put it 3.5, so there I need it to be 3.5 as well. And I did it twisted over. Same on the other side and make sure it matches. So again, I'm going to make mine 3.5 with the seam on the inside. Side. I'm just going to pull that to the outside and check I'm happy with it. You can roughly gauge what it's going to look like when you're finished by doing this. Yeah, I think it looks okay. Then take your inner pieces and put them with the right side down, and with your finished edge toward the middle, match up the edges and pin, and make sure when you get to the handles that you pin through the handles and keep it nice and secure, because you now need to remove the other pin that you had on the inside. Okay, we're all pinned in place. So now take that and stitch 1 centimetre. So here I've stitched everything round. This is a good time, these 2 long edges, to finish them with an overlocker or a zigzag stitch. Okay, those 2 edges finished. These ones are going to be so deep inside the book that it's not really important. So now, spot your stitching, clip the corners. Everything's black and I can't see. And then pull everything to the right side and iron it. Now's a good time to check the fit on your book. Looking good. So if you don't want a zip, that's perfectly usable as it is. But next stage is fastening on the zip. This zip I have is an open-ended zip, which is not the ideal one for the job. So what I'm going to do is just add a couple of hand stitches to keep the zip together to stop it from opening. Just to stop it from opening while I'm working with it. Once it's fastened into the book cover, it's not going to be a problem. Help just to hold it still. Now the tricky part, fastening in the zip. So first we need to fold the cover in half and mark with the pin exactly the centre point on the spine. Top and bottom. Then we take the zip, place it so that the zip teeth lay along parallel with the pin, and pin it down both sides. Then roll it over, and with the teeth facing out towards us, pin the edge of the zip right along the edge of the book cover. When you turn the corner, you need to be careful that you don't get any puckers or tucks in your zip. It needs to run smooth, otherwise you're going to have trouble opening and closing it. Okay, now before we carry on too far, we're going to do the other side and make sure that the two corners match. The two corners need to match, otherwise your zip's going to be twisted and you need it to bend around smoothly at the corner. So where we've got the corner here, this point needs to match the corner here as well. You can be forgiven a millimetre or two, but it needs to be quite close. Okay, carry on to the next corner. Inside. Then back to the first side and finish off. This is going to end up being tucked inside there. So this is a good sign, because as I fold it in, the centre of this zip is matching this pin. Which means our final stitching point is around here, because after that it goes inside. Finish off this side. And just before we get lost, I don't want to lose my zip pull that's gone tucked inside there. Now you can go back in. Okay. So everything's pinned in and my corners look reasonably even. So you undo the zip carefully. If you poke that down inside there, it should lay quite flat. And take this to the machine and stitch the edges as close as you can to the edge of the zip and the edge of the cover. So there's the zip stitched in. One final trick is take yourself a piece of ribbon or cotton tape, and we're going to stitch that to the ends of the zip and join them together, because by holding those two ends together, when you pull the zip pull, when it's on your book, it stops the end of the zip from flipping out of the book cover. So just roughly stitch that by hand. And we are done. So I need to make sure I've got my book the right way around at the bottom of my book.